They basically gave us a religion. Church in Ghana is big business. Let's not get it twisted. It's such a sad thing to see in Ghana where we're being so oppressed because of our beliefs. You cannot just sit in your house and say, God, give me a job. You know, we have a very strong culture when it comes to leave it to God. I can go to this person and say to this person, God has told me, bring me 5,000 cedis and I'm going to do a miracle in your life. How are all these other countries been able to get ahead of us? The church of God looks good, but the people are suffering. They are still able to focus and create wealth. Meanwhile, those who are on their knees every single night praying, remain in poverty to the point that people have become dumb. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, today's video, I want to talk about something that I believe really does affect a lot of Ghanaians. All right, now this video is going to be probably a little bit touchy for some people, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to bear with me and get through the video so then we can talk about it, okay? All right, so I want to address the fact that Ghana is predominantly Christian and Muslim. Now, I personally believe that has a huge effect on the culture of Ghana. And I actually believe that in some respects, it's actually holding Ghana back to a degree. And I'll explain a little bit why. So I'm just going to say Christianity at this point, right? And I'm not necessarily just pointing this directly to Christianity. It's just easier to just say Christianity, right? So I'm just using that as a broad blanket template or whatever you want to call it, right? So the reason that I'm saying is that I feel like Christianity holds back Ghana quite a lot is because of when you come to Ghana, you see the effects of Christianity. You know, obviously Ghana was colonized a lot by the Europeans, right? And when they came to Ghana, they basically gave us a religion. Our religion, our predominant religion was not Christianity. We serve our gods, or I don't know, however you want to say it, right? And if you ever go to the slave castles, right, you will see the effects of what colonialism has done, right? And how the people that were forced into the slave trade were treated. Meanwhile, above the dungeons, you know, there was church service going on. And although we have broken away from slavery, there is still a very, very strong presence of it here. And I'm not saying Christianity is wrong. I want you to hear my heart. I fully believe I'm a Christian myself. I've been in church for a number of years. But one of the things that really made me look at this was that when I came to Ghana, I really struggled to find a church to go to. I've been in church since I was like 19 years old. And I very much struggled when I came to Ghana to find a church that I felt was aligned with what I believe to be Christianity and to be focused on God. And also just finding somewhere that wasn't going to be superficial and, you know, really did actually focus on God. And I struggled and I couldn't find that. I've been to a few churches and I just couldn't find it. And so, you know, it just got my mind ticking as to what it is. So when you come to Ghana, you will see that Christianity is pretty much everywhere. It's everywhere. You see it on the back of trotros, you know, very much heavily the white Jesus thing, okay? Now, I'm not necessarily going into the white Jesus thing. That's not so much what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Christianity as a whole, whether you believe it is a white Jesus, a black Jesus, whatever it is, right? I'm just talking about Christianity as a blanket term. I feel like the way that Christianity is presented in Ghana is, it really does hold the people of Ghana back a lot because we depend on Christianity so much, and there's nothing wrong with that, but there has to be balance, okay? So yes, you can say, okay, yeah, I believe in God and I believe that God is going to do all these amazing things for me, right? Which is great, it's wonderful, we all believe it. But there comes a point where it's like, okay, you also have to put some things into action in order for something to happen, right? You cannot just sit in your house and say, God, give me a job, and the job will just land in your lap, okay? How many people will that necessarily happen to? It doesn't happen like that, right? For the most people, you have to have an action in order for a reaction to happen. And we just are in such a state where we just believe that just stay at home and pray, and everything, all your problems will be answered. Every single problem that you have in this world can be answered as long as you just fast and pray. Just lock yourself away for however long you need to lock yourself away for, and fast and pray. And because of that, we're not progressing. Now, there's nothing wrong with fasting and praying. I have to keep saying this because I know someone is going to come into the comments and say, oh, you're this, you're that. No, that's not what I'm saying. We're trying to give balance here, okay? There is nothing wrong with fasting and praying. There's nothing wrong with believing in God. But at the end of the day, you still need an action. Okay, you need to do something in order for something else to happen. It's wonderful that we rely on God for these things, and He's there, yes. But you need to have faith and take a step of faith too, right? The Bible also teaches us faith too. So you can't just say that prayer is going to answer everything if you're not willing to also do anything, okay? I can't say, well, I want a job as an accountant. But meanwhile, I won't go and study, but I'll sit down and pray and believe that God is going to give me that job. God is not going to give you that job. For one, you're not qualified. Nobody's going to hire you without a qualification. It's just not going to happen. You need to go and study. So instead of saying, God, give me this accounting job that I'm not qualified for, pray a better prayer. Pray, you know what, God, I pray that I can get into a really good school that would give me the best chance at getting the best qualifications so that I can become an accountant. That's the kind of mindset that you have. But if we just have this whole dependency mindset where we're not thinking outside the box, all our thoughts are just in prayer and there is no action to be taken on top of that, we are going to find ourselves at a disadvantage. We are being held back, and therefore people come in and take advantage of that. We have a very strong culture when it comes to leave it to God. We strongly believe that in everything, leave it to God. God will do it. And yeah, God will do it. But again, balance, right? There's some things you have to do yourself. Now, I'm not saying pick up and go and exercise vengeance on someone rather than leave it to God. I'm not saying that. That's the extreme. We're not talking about extremes here. I'm just saying on the whole, there are some things that help God too. Help God a little bit too, and do something for yourself. Like, we can't be a country where we have just fallen so flat on our faces that all we do is just believe in prayer, believe in God, without action, without anything, without doing a single thing, and expect good things to happen to us. How are all these other countries being able to get ahead of us? It makes no sense. It's because we are being held back by the way that we have been indoctrined into believing in religion. Religion has such a strong hold on over people's lives. Now, again, I'm going to say this again because some people are not going to have listened to what I've said. I'm also a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in all of that. I believe in worship. I believe in all that. I believe in fasting. I believe in prayer. But I still believe there are some things that there has to be action. You cannot just lie face down every night and pray for things, pray for money to fall into your lap without you having done something in order for the money to find you, because it doesn't happen. Aside for the few miracles that we see where money somebody's walked along the outside and they found the money that they need on the floor, wherever. That's not the everyday occurrence, and you can't sit down and rely on that. We have to do better, we see it everywhere, even on Sundays, right? Yeah, I believe that, you should go to church, right? But the problem that we have here in Ghana specifically is that when we go to church, most of the messages that we hear are prosperity messages. And what I mean by prosperity messages is all about financial gain. It's about wealth. But we're not really hearing about how to grow spiritually, how to mature as a Christian, how to, better ourselves with God by our sides. We're not hearing those kind of messages. We're hearing a lot of prosperity. And with those prosperity, we're also hearing things of, you need to give, you need to give, you need to give. And there's nothing wrong with giving. My personal take on it, and take it as you leave it, because like I said, this video is controversial. I know some of you are going to be upset. But for my personal opinion, when it comes to things like tithing and offering like that, I believe that you should give to God if you feel led to give to God in the church. But for me, I feel like when it comes to tithing and offering, it's about the community. I feel like if I have money and I want to give, I don't see that there's anything wrong with me giving to somebody that I can personally see on the street or somebody I see in my community that could really do with money. I don't feel that it has to go through the church and hopefully it will find its way to that person. I believe that if I want to give my tithes, I should be able to give it directly to that person. It doesn't have to go through the church. Yes, God's house needs upkeep. And I'm not saying don't give to the church. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that we have to use wisdom in it. And I see nothing wrong with using the money that I have in my pocket and giving it to people that I feel are needy in the community rather than giving it to the church. If you look at the church structure, here in Ghana especially, you will see that a lot of the higher ups, the leaders, the elders of the church, the pastors of the church, they don't have financial problems, a lot of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them, they don't have financial problems. They're pulling up in massive cars. They have people running around after them. They have so many things going on, and the congregation is poor. The congregation maybe have walked however many miles to get to church. The congregation maybe doesn't even know how they're going to pay their rent come the end of the month. The congregation doesn't even know how they're going to get lunch later on. The congregation doesn't know how they're even getting home from church. The congregation doesn't know how they're going to pay their school fees. These are realities that we're facing, and I feel like some churches are not tackling those problems that are within the house itself, and are instead focused on these prosperity messages and bringing wealth so that the church of God looks good, but the people are suffering. And I feel like that's wrong. Whether you want to agree with me or not, I'm not here to argue with anybody. It's just my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? I often say in the comment section, you're free to start a YouTube channel and, say your opinions. I'm just saying what my opinion is. You can agree or not or disagree. It's cool. It's not an argument. I'm just saying it as I see and how I feel. I'm open to constructive criticism. One of the things I can tell you is that church in Ghana is big business. Let's not get it twisted. Big business. People often leave school and say, I want to be a pastor so that I can make money. I know people directly who have said, you know what, I've been looking for a job too much. This entrepreneurship thing is too hard. I'm going to become a pastor. I'm going to become a pastor. Not even because they believe in God, but because it's a business. And many people run churches like businesses. And again, I'm going to say, yeah, it should make money to an extent, right? Because it has to be able to help the community. And it's not wrong per se, but it can get wrong very quickly if in the wrong hands, okay? So church is business. That's how a lot of people want to become an elder. They want to become the pastor because they see that people give money. People's vulnerability is in church. We are led to believe that for us to be better, for our lives to improve, we have to really rely on God's word. And again, it's not that you shouldn't, but use it with sense. And so because of that, people come and take advantage of the fact that, you know what, I can go to this person and say to this person, God has told me, bring me 5,000 cedis and I'm going to do a miracle in your life. And someone will bring it because they believe it 100%, and they will never doubt that the pastor could perhaps maybe be in it for their own interest. And that's not saying every time that they are, but sometimes it is that. Sometimes it is the pastor's interest. How many times have we seen it where the pastor has said, I want 10 people to line up at the front here. Everybody should give 5,000. I'm going to give a breakthrough. God has told me that there's going to be a breakthrough. The first 10 people that can get up here, you are going to get your breakthrough. How many times have we seen it? Like, let's use our common sense as well, because the same message that God can give to the pastor, he can also give to you. God doesn't need the pastor in order to be able to give you a breakthrough in your life. You know, we feel like, for a minute, let's just exercise our common sense, right? How do some of these people who don't even believe in God become rich and wealthy? They're not even necessarily bad people per se. They are still able to focus and create wealth. Meanwhile, those who are on their knees every single night praying, remain in poverty. How is that? How is that possible if God is a just God? There is something wrong. There is something wrong along the way. The difference is because some people are taking action. The person who's rich still, it doesn't mean that they don't believe in God. It doesn't mean because you're rich you don't believe in God. There are many rich people who believe in God, and God is their number one. But how is it that they are able to prosper and somebody else is not? It's because the rich person is using the Bible to take action. They're taking steps. They're using it in the right way. They're using it with common sense. They're taking action. They're not just using it as a chokehold to stop them doing things. And a lot of people who are poor, that's what's happening. They are being caught in this chokehold, and it's becoming a problem for them where they can't now progress in life because they are just stuck. You know, I'm sorry to say it, but it cuts through in Ghana. It really does, this whole thing of Christianity and getting people to know their place. That's more so what it is. It's about getting people to know their place. Politicians even use it. Politicians, when they go campaigning a lot of the time, they will bring God into it. And because of that, a lot of people will support them because the person supposedly aligns with their belief in God, which again is not a bad thing, but they will use it to the extreme to their advantage. And that's what I'm saying. People are using it to take advantage rather than using it in the way that it should be, and because it is their belief, their true belief, and that is what they're going for, right? It's not their belief, it's because they're using it as a tool, a power tool over somebody else. And Ghana is heavily under that burden of being used in that way. You know, we have this culture of where a lot of people won't speak up about certain things because you can't question the man of God or the woman of God. You can't disagree. You can't have an opposing opinion because touch not the Lord's anointed. Because who God has ordained has all the answers for everything, and who are you to speak up against it? You can't do that. And although this can be a worldwide view, in Ghana, its presence is heavy, to the point that people have become dumb, in a sense, that they no longer can think for themselves. They no longer know what their own opinions are. Everything that they do, they have to run it by the pastor first and make sure that the pastor is okay with it. Even if they have their own personal convictions and they think that they may even have heard from God themselves, but because the pastor is in disagreement, they will take what the pastor says over their own discernment. And that is such a shame. And that is how we have always been able to be overpowered as a country. Oof. Wow. And I'm getting kind of emotional right now because I feel like it's such a sad thing to see in Ghana where we're being so oppressed because of our beliefs and because of some of the things that we have been indoctrinated into. Like I said, I wholeheartedly believe in God, but we've got to a place where it has been weaponized against us. We've got people who are literally dying because the man of God has told them that they don't need to go to hospital, that all will be well, that they don't need medical treatment, that their child will be fine. Everything is going to be okay. Just leave it in God's hands. And it has really affected us and it's held us back so much. I don't think we realize how much influence the outside world has been able to have on us as a country because of what we believe. Our own religions that we started off with, we're even scared of them. We see it as it's wrong, it's devilish, it's this, it's that. And I'm not saying that some of the practices may not be good. I'm not saying either way, okay? I'm just saying some of them maybe, like we would be uncomfortable with. There's some practices that I'm not particularly a fan of. I'm not a fan of. But I can see why people do it because that's what they believe. But my point is that we've got to a place where we are so afraid of what we originally believed that we go with what we have been told that we should believe. we are afraid of a lot of things. We're afraid to be spiritual. It's so difficult. It's so hard because I'm trying to create a balance in this video where there are going to be some things that are very controversial, I'm saying, and it is going to strike a chord with people, but it is the truth. There's nothing wrong with Christianity if it's done in the right way, if that's what you believe. I'm not here to tell anybody that you should believe this, right? I believe that you should live by your own convictions. If your conviction is not Christianity and it's just about you and God, that's your conviction. And I'm not someone to step in and say that's wrong or that's right or whatever. I'm not somebody who's going to say you shouldn't be going to a shrine, you shouldn't be doing this. If that's your conviction and that's what you believe, if you're not hurting anybody, you're not using it for evil, I don't see that it's wrong. You know, we can point out places in the Bible where there's certain things that looks like it was witchcraft. We can do that. For me, it's just so sad that we have become so far removed from our own opinions that we just take whatever is fed to us because we see a certain group of people, we see white people as superior to us, and therefore we believe that anything that they tell us is correct, and it's not. We're lost. We're really lost when it comes to religion. We're really lost. You know, we've lost our ability to critical think because we are told what to think. We have so much superstition that is like dressed as Christianity, as being Christian. So many things that we think, that we believe that are not necessarily true. A lot of Ghanaians will believe that when something bad happens to you, it's because God is punishing you. So sometimes they will accept the facts that, you know what, God is punishing you. Like, I must have been a bad person. This is my punishment. And they will sit there in their punishment because that is what they truly believe. That is what they've been told. And you can't shift them from their belief. That's how it's holding us back. We believe that when someone is sick, it's because they must have done something somewhere along the line. And this is the punishment that they're getting. Not that they just need treatment. They believe that they're being punished by God. And although that may seem like, how can you believe that? That's silly. That's what people believe because they've been indoctrinated to believe that. You know, the thing is, there's a lot of hypocrisy around Christianity as well. Again, I'm saying Christianity, I just mean religion. I should probably say religion. There is a lot of hypocrisy around a religion. People just say one thing and do another. They'll say, I'm a Christian, I believe in God. They'll go to church every Sunday. In fact, they'll go to church 3 times, 4 times a week, every single day of the week. But the things that they can do are more evil than what even regular people can think of. The evil that they can sometimes wish on others really makes you wonder what kind of church they're going to. I'm just being real here. Some people just don't have good intentions. And it's not even because, I don't even know how to even explain it. It's just hypocrisy, full stop. They go to church, they listen, and they want to tell people that, yeah, I've gone to church and I'm a Christian, I believe in this, I believe in that, or whatever. But everything within them is just pure evil. They just have evil intentions. They have bad intentions for other people for no other reason than for personal gain. But they will still call themselves a Christian. And it puts a bad light on everybody else that is a Christian and actually does believe and actually wants to do the right thing and wants to just have their personal walk with God in the right way. It puts a bad light on it. And it's such a shame that you see it here so heavily. I'm telling you, someone can go from church, go to their boyfriend's house and be fornicating. And that's your conviction. Whether you want to be doing sex outside of marriage, that's your conviction. I'm not saying it's wrong, it's right, or whatever. Me, I don't know. It's a personal conviction. I'm not saying that. But someone will preach and stand there and preach and say, yes, it's wrong. I don't believe in sex outside marriage until I'm married, and da-da-da-da-da. And in the same breath, turn around and go and fornicate. How does it make sense? But they've justified it themselves in such a way that they're okay with it. It's cool. It's cool. They don't see the hypocrisy in what they're doing. Oh, as for this one, I can do it. And they'll continue, and that's how they live their life. That's how they will live their life. Like, if you're going to be one thing, be one thing. Don't be another thing. Don't pretend to be another thing. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a perfect person. I'm a Christian, but there are certain things that perhaps that I would do that people will say, that's not Christian-like. And I'll look at it and be like, yeah, it's true. But maybe that's not my personal conviction. Some people will smoke and say they're Christians. And some people will say, how can you be Christian if you're smoking? That's your personal conviction. I'm not here to tell you it's right or wrong. Some people will drink and that's their personal conviction. Someone will say it's right or it's wrong. Like, it's such a whole thing. But the reason I'm saying it is because some people want to stay on the path so much that they say, this is right, this is wrong, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And they're the biggest hypocrites of all. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. We are being held back as a people because of religion. Not Christianity, because of religion and how people feel that it should be. They just have their personal opinions in things that they're not even practicing for themselves. But even having said all of that, I don't want us to also miss the point that there are some churches that do really good. There are some churches, there are some religions that have the heart for God and they are doing great things. You have to understand there are good things about it too, right? Because even though religion can be used in a bad way, it can also be used in a good way, right? Because people have morals because of what they believe in. There are certain things that people won't do because they have the moral compass to know that, this is not good. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to live for God and I want to do what is right. And that's brilliant. There are churches which are going out there and actively helping in the community. They are building churches. They're building hospitals. They're building schools. They're helping families within the church to help their children pay their school fees, making sure that they've eaten. There are churches that do, and I don't want to dismiss them. And I'm not trying to put every church or every religious institution into a category of it being wrong. My point of this video is that we have to be careful that we don't go so far to the point that we now lack critical thinking. We can't think for ourselves. We forget. We lose our senses because of something that somebody else has told us. And we now have the ability to not think aside from that. That's all I want to say. I would like to know what you think about what I've said in the comment section. I know this is going to probably touch a few raw nerves for some of you. But it is something you will see very much when you're on the ground in Ghana. It's very, very much like that. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to swallow. It really, really is sometimes. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Once again, I'm open to consultations. If you would like to do a one-to-one consultation with me, feel free to send me an email to dela@moretodela.com and I will respond to you there. Also, the business hub, the Diaspora Business Hub is open. If you have a business in Ghana and you would like to put your details and register into the directory, you can do that there too. I'll put the link, it is in the description box. And that's the end. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. Until next time, I am out. Nasifafa.